Hi all, welcome to the final whistle, and it's the last match preview of the season. And what a nervous game it's going to be at the King Power Stadium. The relegation battle goes down to the last game of the season. A win for the Foxes, and Everton don't win their game. The Foxes are safe, but it's complicated, isn't it? It's not been the greatest season at all. It's been very poor, and 22 defeats to say the least. It's not going to be the game tomorrow, Sunday, that sends us down. It'll be the games that we've lost prior, the other 22 games. And I'm going to be joined by Halsey from the WestHamNetwork. She's going to be joining me to talk all things West Ham, what to expect from them. We're going to talk about West Ham's final against Fiorentina, how confident she is going into that one. Will David Moyes make all them changes that some fans would think that he is going to? But today, we're going to see what David Moyes had to say. Halsey will bring me up to date with that. We're going to talk about what Dean Smith had to say as well. Let's get this match preview going. Guys, as always, smash a like, subscribe to the channel. If you're new to the channel and you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button. It'd be really much appreciated. And let's get my guest in, Holly from West Ham Network. Holly, how are you?
Yeah, really good, thanks. Thanks for having me on the show.
Good. Holly, talk to me. Tell everyone where they can find you firstly.
So we are on YouTube, which is West Ham Network. We're on Twitter, again, West Ham Network. My own Twitter is Halsey, same as that name down there. But yeah, you can find us generally in all sorts of West Ham conversations.
Yep. Holly, talk to me about the thoughts on West Ham season then. Your 14th respectively so far. A win could take you further up table. Talk to me about the season as a whole from the start till now. Talk to me how it feels with West Ham in the European final, Holly.
It's all been a bit of a whirlwind this season, actually. So obviously we came off the back of a really good season last year and strengthened the squad, had all these new signings. And we were thinking that this is going to be it because we had a really thin squad last season. We had nearly no subs. Any subs we made, it weakened the side. So we brought in these amazing players, the likes of Paqueta, and we thought this is it. We finally spent budget as well because it was all that fans have wanted for so long with West Ham. We invested in these players and we thought, this is going to be our season to really ramp things up another level, hopefully get like Europa League again, at least. And then the season started and it just didn't go to plan. It looked like the players had no confidence. We couldn't work out how to play together as a team. It was really stressful, actually. And the more time went by and we were sitting right at the bottom of the table for a long time, the more stressful it got. And you could see the worse the players got. And it was almost like we were just out of desperation trying something different. Obviously, people started turning against Moyes. It all started going downhill and sort of unraveling. And we were left just thinking, what has happened with this season? But then we had the Arsenal game and we'd shown glimmers of hope where we'd started to find a bit of form and then we'd lose again and we'd fall back. But after that Arsenal game, it did feel like confidence started to grow and that we'd sort of worked out who our rough starting 11 was. And we started making small changes rather than making loads of different subs and having a different lineup every single week. And I think from there, we've got stronger and stronger and we have been performing really well. And obviously, our Conference League campaign has been unbelievable. To be unbeaten and to be doing so well in that. We wouldn't have expected it, especially when you look at our Premier League form and you compare it to our Conference League form. It's almost like two completely different sides. And it's good times because if someone would have said halfway through the season that we'd be in the final of the Conference League and had the opportunity to finish the season 12th, we'd have literally bitten your hand off for that. So it's a bit bittersweet because it's a shame we didn't do more earlier in the season, which I'm sure is obviously how you're probably feeling about the season, but it's not how football works, is it?
No, I'm afraid not. It's been a poor season for the Foxes, let's be honest. It's not gone the way we planned. We've only picked up 8 wins all season in the Premier League. In our last 15 games, we picked up 1 win. We've kept 1 clean sheet since the West Ham game in the Premier League. David Moyes has been under pressure, hasn't he? There was the rumours that David Moyes would be getting the sack first half of the season. West Ham fans didn't feel he was the man anymore to take them out of the situation that they were in. There was talks of Brendan Rodgers, talks of many managers, like they are when managers are under pressure. West Ham have somehow turned their fortunes around in the second half of the season, but the Foxes have gone downwards and you've gone upwards. Europe's been a big thing for you. Fiorentina versus West Ham in the final. 47 years, Holly, I believe it is, since West Ham last made a European final.
It is.
I think it's a big one, isn't it, for you lot? And do you think you can go and win it?
It's huge because opportunities like this don't come around often. And when you look at how we've been in recent seasons, opportunities like this wouldn't have been expected. To have like European football for multiple seasons in a row, all of this is something that we wouldn't have seen coming. And I actually do think that we can go and win it. You look at our form, we're completely unbeaten, which is mad, like for West Ham to even achieve that. But then if ever there was a team that you wanted to face, like we've had a relatively easy run in it. But again, you've got to turn up on the day because every team wants to give it everything and no game is a given. But Fiorentina in the final, if ever there was a chance, this is it. So if we mess it up, it's on our heads because this was our opportunity.
It is. Leicester was in it last season, the Europa Conference League. Played PSV, played Roma. Difficult games, and we fell short in the second leg of the Europa Conference League final away at Stadio Olimpico, which was a shame. But I just feel Leicester's gone really downhill, Holly. What's your initial thoughts on Leicester? I mean, in the position that we always spoke on your channel a bit of time ago, the wheels have fell off, haven't they, at Leicester? The position that we're in, you could say the board have took the finger off the button. The players are not giving that fight and passion, which I said to you they needed to. It's not about the squad that you've got in quality. It's about how much fight and passion you put into getting out this relegation battle. How has Leicester surprised you, Holly? And do you think they'll go down?
Oh, good question. It's massively surprised me because, like, I think back to when Leicester were winning the Premier League and you saw this, like, feisty, fiery team that put everything on the line and battled for every ball and managed to, like, just work hard and, like, get goals from out of nowhere at times. And you just run at teams and make it really hard. I remember absolutely dreading playing Leicester. So it's a big shock. I never would have expected you to be even down near the relegation zone. You might feel differently, obviously, as fans, seeing what's been going on for longer, sort of inside the club. And you mentioned that maybe things were sort of heading south for a little while, but definitely shocked to see you down there. And I would like to obviously not see you go down, to be honest. I'd like to see Everton go down if I could pick either team. Obviously, it's a shame you're playing West Ham, so that might sway my, my judgment ever so slightly. But yeah, no, it's a shock to see you down there. And I'm sad because I feel like Leicester winning the Premier League was a moment where I was just like, football is such a beautiful thing. And you saw what you were building. But for it to have gone downhill so quickly over like however many years, how many years has it been now? 5 years? Something like that?
We came up in 2014, so 9 years. 9 years been in the Prem.
So literally seeing you go from like into the Premier League
Premier League winners to
then going back down potentially is sad. So yeah, disappointing.
Yeah, I think there's been a lot happening behind the scenes at Leicester. Players haven't been brought. We haven't strengthened the way we should have. We've got players who's been ran down in contracts now. It's not been the season we all expected as Foxes fans. It's been an horrendous season. a season that you want to forget and can't wait for the season to end, Holly, to be fair, as a Leicester fan.
Yeah.
It's not been ideal. I don't think the players have tried, even though they said they have in performances. We've had so many chances now to get out this relegation battle, failing to beat Leeds, failing to beat Everton, failing to beat Bournemouth. I mean, we beat Wolves, 1 win in 15 for the Foxes. That's not good form, is it, Holly, going into this last game against West Ham?
It's definitely not. But if ever you did have a chance, I think this could be it, because I do think we might see quite a few substitutions made from our normal starting 11. I think while Moyes did say, I'm sure we'll touch on it, but like in his press conference, that he does still want to go for this and get the win, I would be surprised if we see our strongest 11 on the pitch for the full game. So I think, like you said, it comes down to that grit and determination for the team to just go, look, it's now or never. Give it everything and then go off on your summer holidays and do what you need to do. But 90 minutes left, you'd hope that a team could just give it everything. And that's all you ask, isn't it, as a football fan? Even if you go down, even if you lose a game, if you can see that people have really tried and given it absolutely everything on the pitch and they're broken at full time, it's very different to seeing a team that just says that they did everything.
Yes, media BS in it with the players regarding what they say and what actually happens. But Brendan Rodgers should have been gone sooner. If we'd sacked him before Christmas, then it could have been a different story with Leicester, but they kept with Brendan Rodgers. They said to keep him until the end of the season. Brendan Rodgers, like I said to you on yours, that he's got a 3-year shelf life. And after that, it proves to go down south with Brendan. Yes, he's won the FA Cup and the Community Shield. 2 top 5 finishes he'll argue with, but the football in his last year and a half was terrible. I mean, he played some good football at the start, Brendan Rodgers, and then we brought in Dean Smith, who I feel is a team builder and not a firefighter. If you wanted a firefighter, then you could have gone someone like Sean Dyche, Sam Allardyce, someone like that. But Dean Smith were our only hope, and he was the only man who was willing to come in and take this team, because no other manager wanted us in the situation that we are. And does that show how much there's been in the demise of Leicester's season, Holly, with managers not even want to come to your football club?
I think so, because there was so much potential in Leicester sort of 4 or 5 years ago. Anyone would have bitten your hand off to get the opportunity to manage Leicester. So to see how downhill things have gone, in that there are very few managers that would even want to take on the project, really does say something. And like I said, I'm just sad for Leicester, because I feel like there've been many times where I've been like a bit of a closet Leicester fan. Like I'm loving seeing you guys do really well. But yeah, it's such a shame. And it's funny you say that as well, because obviously a lot of West Ham fans actually wanted Brendan Rodgers when things started going downhill with Moyes. So it's that merry-go-round of managers, isn't it? You always get the same names brought up. And like you're saying, his shelf life was over, but he can go in and like take a project to the next level, but maybe for a year or two, and then it starts petering out. So it's just a shame the way it's headed, hasn't it?
Yeah. Tyler's going to the game. Evening, Terry. How are you, mate? Second double of the season. Well, we bloody hope so. Something's got to give. We ain't going down. Keep the faith. Halsey, are you going to the game?
I'm not actually. I'm not. I'm gutted.
Are you going to the final?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I'm going to that game. Ticket to the game, but I've got flights and I've got a hotel, so I'll either be at the final or in a fan zone in Prague somewhere, having the time of my life.
Yep. Halsey, Leicester versus West Ham. We'll go into team selection and score prediction that later on. We'll go for a few stats very soon. This game, I mean, this one's a massive game for the Foxes. It's do or die. Let's be honest. It's the Old Trafford next season in the Prem, or we're going to Rotherham United away. It's one that the Foxes have got to go out and attack. We've got to show real force in this game, that we are up for this game. I mean, we've said it's a massive game for weeks, but we've blew our chances in every chance that we've had. And this one will be no easy game for me. I'm not confident going into this game. I'm nervous. And listening to Dean Smith today, he said that the fans have got to give 100%, but it don't work one way, does it? The players have got to give it as well. But the players like Sionchu will be out. Ricardo Iheanacho will be good to go for the game. Evans had cramp last game. He'll be good to go as well. But this one's a very hard game, to be fair. We can't defend. We can't go and park the bus like we did against Newcastle. We've got to come out. We can't allow West Ham spaces around the box because they can be clinical when given the opportunities, like Jarrod Bowen, Ben Rama, Pablo Fornals, who have recently scored against the Foxes. Mikel Antonio as well, the tank. He'll be one to hold that ball up. What are you expecting from this game from a West Ham perspective, Holly? Let everyone know what Dean Smith, David Moyes has had to say ahead of the game. And what's your threats from Leicester?
So David Moyes in his press conference today shocked most of the fans because everyone is like, just focus on the Conference League, don't care about the Premier League anymore. Whether we finish 14th, 13th, 12th, I think having the chance to win and play well in a final means so much that everyone is like, don't even care. Premier League is like finished kind of thing. But David Moyes has come out today and said, obviously, a couple of weeks ago that he'd have jumped at the chance to finish 12th and he's going to work out how to balance it, but he's going to give it everything to be able to do well in both. So it's clear that we're not just going to play a second string team and sort of hope for the best. But we saw that we actually, against Leeds, didn't play our normal starting 11. No. And it did work well. We managed to rest quite a few players. We managed to make some subs to keep people's legs a bit fresher and obviously got the win as well, which I don't think anyone was expecting. So I'd actually like to see us probably set up similarly to that. In terms of how we've been playing, we've actually been playing a game where we don't have much possession lately. So I'm interested to see how that will play out because we tend to let the other team have the ball and then play a little bit more on the break.
Yeah, I want us have the ball, Holly. We'll get you straight back.
From what I understand, you don't play with much of the ball either.
No. We used to counter attack a lot of teams, but then Vardy's got older, hasn't he, since then? I mean,
he'll be fine.
We need to bloody put him on roller skates. Let's be honest. Need that fast movement.
Vardy still does scare me. I feel like
he's still got it in him. Yeah,
he has. He's still got that sprint in him, and on the break is where we do tend to make mistakes. So I think in terms of where you could probably score against us would be us making stupid errors, especially when we've pushed up to try and break and we then lose possession. Having a team like Leicester that have quite a lot of pace in attack does worry me because that's when we're prone to making defensive errors. And we've got quite a few players in defence as well that sometimes they'll jump in, sometimes they can't keep up with a winger. So there are quite a few ways that I think you could hurt us should you win possession back when we're not expecting it.
Yeah, Leicester do offer threat. We can. We haven't this season, really, to be honest. I don't think we've gave enough. The table doesn't lie, Holly. We deserve to be where we are. Quite a lot of people have said we deserve to go down. I don't think you can really disagree. But West Ham, people are expecting them to make a lot of changes. I don't think they will because they'll want to go into that final in 10 days' time-ish with a positive mindset. David Moyes ain't going to want to lose this game. I do feel you'll put a more stronger team out than what you did against Leeds. I mean, you made them changes against Leeds, which was sufficient in the time that you had to prepare in that game compared to what you have in this game. This game, you've had more time to prepare yourselves because you've not played European football. I feel the players have been more fresher. I think you've got that threat in Declan Rice, Ben Rama, Fornals, Bowen, Antonio, and you've got height in from set pieces as well. And I think West Ham have still got a lot to offer. David Moyes even said that he wants to finish higher. So, West Ham fans didn't think that David Moyes were too capable with the Premier League now. We're more like European football. But that gave Foxy fans hope. And then as soon as he said, but we want both, it's like, oh, for God's sake.
Could just play in the Premier League.
I don't think David Moyes is... He still loves Everton, doesn't he? Let's be honest. Still has a lot of contact at Everton. He ain't going to want to send them down, let's be honest. He'll want to do them a favour. because he's still got friends at Everton like Ken Wright and that, and he ain't gonna want to see Everton go down. But then we're in a position where Leeds are in there, Everton, and Leicester. Let's have a look at a few stats, Holly, head to head here. Position 18th against 14th, play 37. 8 wins to 11, 7-7 in draws, 22 defeats for Leicester, 19 for West Ham. What's your initial thoughts on the head-to-head, Holly?
I guess looking at two, they're not massively different, and it has been close at the bottom of the league until 2 or 3 games ago. West Ham were obviously right there in the mix for getting relegated as well. So obviously losing 22 games is brutal, and we've lost 19, so we can't really speak either. But it's just I think it's been a difficult season, and as we know, nothing's guaranteed. You can have really good players on paper, and then all you need is things to just not go your way, the ball to not fall to you. Like with West Ham, you mentioned set pieces there. One of the things we were really struggling with in the first half of the season was just that our ball into the box was terrible, and because of that,
you used to be one of the best at set pieces, Holly.
Yeah, literally a corner would basically be as good as a penalty for us. Yeah. And then we could not get the ball past the first man for love nor money. And we were like, what has happened? And something so simple like that can make all the difference between something that used to be your strength becoming one of your biggest wasteful opportunities. So yeah, it's obviously surprising to see how many games you've lost, but it's not that different between like 14th and 18th, like you said.
But it looks, but by the looking at it on how Leicester's performed, and like you said, we've had a real bad season compared to West Ham. But we've kind of like swapped places, haven't we? You were poor in the first half of the season. Yeah. Well, we were poor in the first half of the season. I mean, we beat a West Ham side in the first half of the season who couldn't score goals. They couldn't create enough chances. We took advantage of your vulnerabilities. Now use your chance to take advantage of ours. So tables have turned. Holly, this one, who is your favourite player?
Oh,
if you had to go one of all time.
Of all time. Do you know what? I'm actually going to go for someone in our team at the moment, and I'm going to say Antonio. Because when he plays well, I literally love him so much. Don't get me wrong, there are times where he's been so frustrating because you're literally like, why are you not playing the same 2 games in a row? But I absolutely love Antonio, and I think he always puts in a proper shift. And when we've had him put in good performances, it's honestly made all the difference at West Ham. Bowen as well, to be fair. I think he works really hard.
Yeah, Antonio's a bloody beast. Not many players are going to get the ball off him, innit? Man's got strength. And
he really has.
Man loves a goal at the King Power Stadium, Holly.
He does.
For West Ham, he used to score for Sheffield Wednesday. I mean, we know Antonio very well. It's a crazy one with Antonio. You never want to come up against him. I don't think any defence does. But we've got Harry Souttar, He's going to think what a bloody giant man he is. You've got to find a way around him, Antonio, Harry Souttar. He's a big giant, and it's a standoff. Premier League record versus West Ham. Played 31, won 11. You've won 14, drawn 6. Interesting stat there, Holly, isn't it? In the 31 games we've played against each other in the Premier League. If you had to pick one game, what stands out for you? I mean, which game would it be, Holly?
I think so. The game where I know what you're going to say about the handball, but where we drew 2-2 and got that late equaliser, because we really needed that point as well at the time. I have to say, looking at it, I think it was a handball because it's low on the sleeve and it's the movement of the arm that pushes the ball into the net. And that's what makes me think you can't claim it. And you see him try and get his head down, but the head doesn't touch it. It's the arm. No. So I think that's definitely the most memorable as well, because we thought it was going to be ruled out for VAR. And at the time it was, we were just desperate for it to obviously be counted. So in terms of what sticks out for me, that definitely does. But I imagine that was horrible for you guys.
Yes, it was. I think the moment that stands out for me was the Great Escape season where we beat it at King Power late on. Cambiasso scored that strike from distance. But if I had to pick a moment with with the West Ham versus Leicester or Leicester West Ham, it'd have to be the Ajoa penalty in the final last kick of the game.
Yeah.
10 men Leicester. You could say whether Jamie Vardy won with John Moss. You know, he sent him off. We could have been cruising that game if John Moss never sent off Jamie Vardy, but yeah, it was a dive, let's be honest. Vardy tried it a lot that season, getting the foot in on them defenders to bring him down. But yeah, we ended up scoring a penalty that probably shouldn't have been a penalty, but John Moss didn't know what to do on that day. But that was a moment for me, that one. And I think it was a great moment to have. It was a draw, so a big draw, which a big point in the claim for the title. So I think that was a great one in 15-16 for me, that West Ham game. It sticks out like a sore thumb. Holly, last time out then in the Premier League, a 2-0 defeat to Leicester City. James Maddison scored early on.
And Barnes,
and then Harvey Barnes finished you off with a great pass from Jose Perez, I must say. One of the best balls he's put in for Leicester this season. And made it 2-0. A convincing win, shall I call it, against a poor Hammers side back then. But what's your initial thoughts on the game, Holly, in the 2-0 defeat?
I think at the time we were starting to realise that the season wasn't going to go how we'd hoped. And obviously that looked to me like the Leicester that take their chances and that will try anything to put a goal past you. And that was what I was expecting to obviously see more of from Leicester this season, just because you really can hurt a team on the attack. And I think that's one of the things that scares me most about Leicester, because I feel like, I don't know if you'll agree, obviously being like the ones that are always watching it a lot more closely than I am, but whenever you get the ball, I feel like there's a real danger that you could break and attack.
It's the best time we've moved the ball all season, Holly, against West Ham.
Exactly. And like that game, I think you did really well and you deserved the win, and we didn't. And says everything about the start of the season that we had, where
it does.
Shocking.
It sums up both sets of fans in both sides of the season, doesn't it? Premier League head-to-head at the King Power played 8, won 3, drawn 3. You've won 2. Mad one there. And then we look at the last 5 games, played 5. We've beat you once. You beat us twice. 2 draws. Draws are
lots
quite
of draws,
a bit, aren't they, Holly?
We love a draw, clearly. That's not a bad record at your stadium either. I'll take that. I didn't realise it was quite as flattering as that, but we clearly love a draw as well. And I think both teams definitely have the ability to score, so could well see a draw on Sunday. You never know.
Yes.
You need to win.
Last time out at the KP, you led the game through Jarrod Bowen. We then got 2 back in the second half. And then the bloody handball came from Craig Dawson, robbed us of 3 points. And couldn't believe it. And VAR played its part again.
Interesting.
What was your thoughts on that one?
We thought massively we'd got away with something when that happened, because as soon as I saw the replay with VAR, I was like, that's not being given. That's ridiculous. Sometimes they go away, sometimes they don't. And that one definitely was a bit of a blessing. But it's mad, isn't it, how often decisions could go against you. And then at the end of the season, you look back and you're like, what those points would have meant looking back.
That's it. Could have meant a lot.
Absolutely.
Obviously, you lot finished ahead of us last season, didn't you? We finished 8th. I think you finished 7th.
Yeah.
How have you found West Ham's last few seasons? I mean, you finished in Europe twice. You've now will be in Europe next season again if you do win the Europa Conference League. How is it in West Ham fans' minds? Is it because they used to be a very good side, West Ham, didn't they, back in the day when they had Di Canio and West Ham were very forced back then, Holly. How do you feel like times have changed from then until now?
I think times have changed massively, because we've gone from being that force to be reckoned with, like you said, back in the days of Di Canio. And then from what I can remember from most of my childhood and when I started really closely following West Ham, we were just quite a disappointing team, and we struggled to get any consistency going. So for us to have done so well in recent seasons, it feels like a bit of a dream come true, but I think we almost outperformed. So we did so well in that season where we had no squad depth, and then we knew that we couldn't sustain that. We obviously did ridiculously well in Europa League despite basically having no subs. And then you look at what happened after that, where we invested and it just didn't click. And because of that, we struggled so much. And if anything, we were a worse team than we were the season before when we had the bare bones of the squad. So finally, it seems to be clicking. But I think expectations have also got so much higher, where you look at, we've invested more money than we ever have. And when we have performed well, that suddenly we're expecting to be beating these like should win teams. And it's the same old story of West Ham, where nothing's ever given. And we might have the best game of our lives one week, and then the next week lose to someone that's already been relegated, and there's no rhyme or reason behind it. So
that's Leicester.
Yeah, exactly.
Beat the big teams, play well against them, and then when you come up against the bloody teams at the bottom, you're thinking, "Oh, easy game this."
Yeah.
And then no, it just doesn't work out.
Exactly the same, and I think that's the biggest pitfall with so many teams that end up near the relegation zone.
Trevor Brooking.
Standards. Love that. Yes, Trevor Brooking.
That's
we set these massive high standards of like when we face the top six, we need to go and attack them. And you see that everyone's so hyped up for it. And then you play the teams that you should actually be competing with in the league. And it's not the same mindset always. And it's confusing.
West Ham looking better, to be fair. Well, they're looking better than us. They're hammering teams unlike Leicester. You know, it's like homes under the hammer with West Ham. You don't know which way it's going to go. Holly, team selection. What are we expecting from West Ham? Obviously, Foxes fans are expecting you to make bloody changes so we can finally win a game. But we know it's not going to be that way after David Moyes spoke today. What do you think the 11's going to be, Holly? And what formation do you think he'll go with?
Do you know what? The only thing I would say, David Moyes often, I think, throws other teams off sometimes with his press conferences, where he'll come up with one thing and then do something quite different. So you never know. He might make a really changed team. I think I'd place a very similar team to what we did against League. So Fabianski, Emerson, Ogbonna, Zuma, Soufal, Souček and Rice midfield, and then Bowen, Paqueta and Fornals, probably with Ings up top to rest Antonio, because he seems to be one of the ones that does struggle with tiredness a lot more. But there's a lot that we could do. We could definitely play players like Downs and rest players like Rice. So there's a lot that we can do, and I'd be surprised if we don't use all of our subs throughout the game to try and keep legs fresh. But I also want to see these players getting a run out, because we've actually got 10 days between this game and the final. So we don't need to rest. It's just avoiding injuries. That's what we need to do. So yeah, I reckon we won't play our very strongest team, and I think you will see some changes made if we don't start with them.
Yeah, I think David Moyes has enjoyed his time off this week. He said it's been a long season.
It was lovely having no midweek game. I think he's been.
Would Jarrod Bowen start?
I reckon he'll start and come off if I had to.
They've got to play for their shirt, haven't they, in that final? I think that's something that West Ham are going to look at. And that's what David Moyes wants. He just hopes don't get injured. West Ham need to buy a proper centre-forward instead of... David's a Spurs fan, so, you know.
I can tell.
This is the team I chose going into this one. Iverson, Castagne, Suter, Fast, Ricardo back four, Barnes, Dewsbury Hall, Maddison, Tillemans, Vardy, and Nacho. I've gone for an attacking team because that's something we need to go for. Could it be the last dance for Jamie Vardy in keeping Leicester City up? That is the big question. But yeah, we've got to go attacking. We've got to show real threat, intent, and show passion. I mean, this media BS that the players have been putting out week after week, some fans have believed it, and none of it's come true. So, you know, there's a lot of pressure riding on this game. The players are going to feel the pressure. You know, and they're going to be hearing the results coming through from Everton and Leeds as well. So I guess that's going to make it an even more important sort of thing as well for the players to know that if Everton are losing or Everton are winning, they've got to need to kick up the arse. Holly score prediction. What are you going for?
I'm going to say 2-1 to West Ham, but I think it'll be close. I really do think it's going to be close. I think we're going to not turn up with the right attitude of putting everything into this game. And I think if you guys can turn up with the right headspace and come to batter us, I think you may well manage to. But 2-1 if I had to guess.
For me, I ain't confident at all. This one's nerve-wracking. It's not a position I want us to be in, but we are. And relegation battles on the final day are ever so unspeakable, in it. To be fair, we've seen some of the teams in it, like West Brom and Sunderland and teams like that, and it's been horrible to see. Watching other teams, but now we're in it ourselves. I mean, our last relegation from the Premier League was 2003-04 season, and Leeds finished 18th. I think we finished 19th, and Everton finished 17th. So Everton stayed up that season. I just hope it ain't bloody this work out this time round, Holly, to be fair.
No, definitely wishing you guys all the best as well. I don't want to see you go down.
No, but you send us down where 2-1, Ollie, so, we can't forgive you for that. But no,
I'm 2-1 and keep you up.
Yeah. You could have easily handed it 3 points. I said this to Konchesky. I was talking to Paul Konchesky last week.
Yeah.
In the women's games, obviously the women lost to West Ham last week, didn't they? I said you could have handed us points, but he said, yeah, but we ain't won since bloody Boxing Day. So I said, if you gave us the point, you'd have been sat, Paul. And I said, is Leicester going down? He said, I keep a close eye on Leicester. He said, I love Leicester, but it is what it is, and it's going to be a very tough game. But I'm going to go with my heart, Holly, and I'm going to go 2-1 to Leicester in hope. I'm clinging on with hope here, but it'll be what it'll be. It could be a Stoke away trip next season for Leicester, or coming back to play West Ham at the London Stadium. So. Yeah, it's one of them. Let's have a look. Saw Dean Smith and Shaky at Southwell Racecourse. Their horse won. Hope it. Oh, bloody hell. Well, they're winning off the pitch and not on it. Spurs men couldn't beat West Ham ladies. Holly, what do you think of Antonio and the Europa Conference League? I'll let you answer that before we talk about the relegation battle.
So Antonio isn't consistent. That's the biggest problem with him. But when he turns up, the main problem is his touch. Like sometimes he has the touch of a trampoline, and it's so frustrating to watch because he puts himself in the right positions. He's got a player that he's holding off on his back, and then he takes a touch and knocks it about 4 meters away from himself and loses possession. But I think when Antonio is having a good game, he's strong, he's fast, and I think he's just a nightmare for other defenders to play against. So I do really like Antonio. And Conference League, I'm buzzing to be in it, and the chance to actually finally win some silverware is massive for us. And these opportunities don't come around.
47 years, Holly.
47 years. So it's honestly unbelievable.
It's a long one, isn't it?
Yeah, literally, we are absolutely buzzing. Like, I imagine it's similar to how you felt about the Premier League, that you're just can't believe this is actually happening.
Yeah, so I know.
That's how I feel.
And then when you see them actually lift a trophy, you think, is this real? Is it actually happening? And I mean, you used to winning it on bloody career mode on FIFA, only not bloody in real life. You know what I mean? Exactly. You just have them hopes and dreams as a kid to think we could actually win something one day. When you're in the Championship, you're like FA Cup, a good run in that or something like that. But when you come to the Premier League, it's like, you have that dream of actually winning it one day, being in the Champions League, which Leicester have done. But Holly, quickly before I let you go, the Premier League final day relegation battle, it has come down to the final day. Leicester, West Ham, Leeds versus Spurs, Everton and Bournemouth. I mean, which way do you think they're going to go, Holly? I mean, it's ever so difficult, isn't it? And you all kick off at the same time.
It really is, because Spurs aren't doing particularly well at the moment. I honestly think any of those three could go any way. But if I could pick, I would like to see Everton going down. They've got Bournemouth at home. We're going to play, I think, a weakened squad. So if I had to guess, although I said 2-1 to West Ham, I think that might not actually happen. And I'm going to say I think Everton will be the last team going down. What are you saying?
Yeah, I'm hoping Leicester stay up, but we've come across these situations before regarding this relegation battle with buts and maybes, and we've threw it away, Holly, time and time again. And we don't deserve this chance, but we've got it. To be fair, let's be real about it. Leeds and Tottenham. Leeds could potentially go and beat Spurs. And that's how it is. I think Leeds are going to be better at home. Spurs have been poor. They lost 3-1 to Brentford last weekend. Leeds lost 3-1 to West Ham. So I think Leeds are going to be up for it. Allardyce won't want them to lose. Everton, it's in Everton's hands, isn't it? Let's be honest. They're 2 points ahead of Leicester. A win for Everton now is put pressure on them slightly, with Leicester getting that draw at Newcastle. If Leicester didn't get the draw at Newcastle, then it could have been a draw or win for Everton's situation, but it's only one way. And they'll hope that Leicester drop points and they can get a draw. So, yeah, it's going to be a well-winded final day of the season, Holly. But thank you for appreciate that. Holly, thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me on.
Tell everyone where they can find you then before I let you go.
Definitely. So we are West Ham Network on Twitter and YouTube, and my handle there is my own Twitter. Thanks for having me on.
Holly, I'm going to wish you all the best in the Europa Conference League final. I will be watching it, and all the best, and go and win it.
Good luck for Sunday. Hope you can stay up.
Cheers, Holly.
Take care. Cheers.
That was Halsey from West Ham Network. Really appreciate her coming on. Let's have a look at the comments. Vardy, one last dance. Yes, Spurs men couldn't beat my academy. Could it be Kane's last game for Spurs? That's the question. Leicester 2-1, Leeds 3-2. And if us and Leeds both win, then we go ahead on goal difference. West Ham have never had a ground actually in West Ham. That's your information, David. You're a Spurs fan. I've just been shot. Appreciate that. Loved it. Got a dash, but we'll catch up soon. YouTube video will be live at 8 p.m. on the West Ham Network. Yes, I was on West Ham Network talking to Holly. Head over there at 8 o'clock, as that will be streamed on their channel. So go and check out what I said about Leicester as I talked about the game. So go over to the West Ham Network at 8 p.m. tonight, and go and drop it a like, go and drop it a comment as well. That is it. Wow. Yeah. Guys, if you've enjoyed the stream, smash a like for me. It'd be really much appreciated. Let's get the numbers up. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed already. Please hit the subscribe button. It'd help us massively. What is coming up on the final whistle then? So, guys, we did the Premier League predictions yesterday. Go and check them out, as I predicted all the games for the weekend. You'll see what I went with. So go and check that out if you haven't seen the Premier League predictions already. Tomorrow, I'm off to Crawley Town Football Club as Brighton Hove Albion women take on LCFC women in the final day of the WSL season. I'll be at the game. There'll be a match day vlog out as well. Potentially get some footage of the celebrations of staying up if we can go and get the result. But if Reading lose against Chelsea, then Leicester are up. And good achievement for the girls. They fully deserve it. And it's been a good season. Let's be honest. We're written off at the start. We were like 7 points behind, but then we've caught it up. And it could be one of the greatest WSL great escapes. We talked about great escapes before in the 14-15 season where Leicester got the great escape. Can the girls go and pull it off tomorrow at Crawley Town? That's the question. Match day vlog will be out after the game on Sunday as Leicester take on West Ham at home in a very nervous game. But I'm looking forward to it. But it's going to be emotions are going to be running high. But we'll see what happens in that one. If we do go down, then it is what it is, to be fair. but we just got to cling on that a little bit of hope. And the fans, go and do your job at the weekend. Be that 12th man. Get behind the team as always. Let's bring that cracking atmosphere on the final day of the season, and let's push the boys on. We'll have the match review on Monday as well for the West Ham game at KB on Sunday. And yeah, that is it from me. LCFC, well, hello, mate. Their bowling ground was in East Ham, and the new stadium was not in West Ham. Leicester ladies won't need to win because Reading are playing Chelsea. Agreed, but you never know in football, David. But yeah, I like the optimism, mate. But guys, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your evening this Friday, and yeah, come on the Foxes, and let's go. And fingers crossed, beat West Ham. Take care, everyone, and bye-bye for now.